Hi everybody, welcome to Spiritual Fluffers today. Today's title is Blessed Are the Trolls.
Excellent.
So Jason, what is a troll?
A troll is someone, let's go through their development. Basically, A troll is someone who was actually probably a very sensitive child, and they just lost their way. They saw the world not react. They saw the world suffering. They saw the world not reacting the way they wanted to, and they kind of gave up on their path. And
did they maybe feel sort of out of control or like a lack of control because they saw bad things around them and they couldn't affect change on them?
Right, and they didn't know how to fix it. So they, unfortunately, usually that type of person will get terribly frustrated, and then they'll just start trolling.
Okay, so what does that mean? What's a troll?
So a troll would be someone that just is basically touching you basically just to throw you off of your senses and off of your own path and your own truth. Not usually it's an unconscious desire, but a lot of them are on the internet. We all know internet trolls. The College Humor probably has the best definition of a troll and how to deal with a troll than we could ever do.
Yeah.
And it's
so go to College Humor and look up internet trolls.
Oh my God, it's way too good because we're going to teach you how to jiu-jitsu it, and we're basically just stealing from College Humor.
Well, and what's funny is when we first started talking about doing this series, I actually had a moment, a human moment, right? Instead of a multi-dimensional being of light having an earthly experience, infinite being moment, like you like to say. I had a human moment and was like, what if we put videos out there and people say I'm fat and people say we're not good and people and you're like, yay, Blessed Are the Trolls, they're gonna do that. And I had to like stop and like take a deep breath and go, wait a minute, you're right. Like people can have their opinions, it's fine, it's totally fine.
Well, and sometimes they're just dealing with their own path, and heck, again, I love trolls because I immediately engage them. I'm like, okay, this is what really happened to you. This is what's really going on with you. You want to speak your truth. You lost your path and you lost your way. I believe you can find it again.
And that's the important piece, right? It's like we recognize Blessed Are the Trolls. Jason likes to say it's in the New Testament. But we want to acknowledge that you have a voice. We all have voices. We can all be co-creators in our own happiness. And for those out there who are finding themselves prone to picking on people or tearing them down or being the first person to identify a fault in somebody, you know, that sort of expression of it in a derogatory way, stop for a moment and think about what happened when you were young. Was there a time that you felt like your voice wasn't heard or appreciated and you're needing to assert it in a certain way, and realize that it's not necessary to do that?
I also might take it even to the nth level. It's like, oh, you want to quit smoking? Smoke a lot.
That's true.
Where like eventually
troll it all out, man.
Eventually a troll will actually start poking you, and if they do it enough, especially if you have this, you're in your own sovereignty, they'll actually have this almost Matrix moment where they'll have this bloop. I'm affecting the world, but I really don't want to affect the world. I actually want to affect myself. So I mean, like, I really don't mind engaging in trolls. I think they're amazing, and they're on their own path. Also, they do amazing things for us.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to ask. What is the purpose that they serve for us?
For us, they're our own ego manifest in a physical form, because we all have doubts about ourselves. I mean, heck, it's part of our human conditioning. We can overcome that, and a lot of times, it's easier to overcome a physical manifestation of it than a psychological manifestation. It's just like we're all psychological cutters, but when someone actually does it physically, we're like, oh my God, that's the worst thing ever. And you're like, well, you just did it to yourself in your relationship about 30 times in the last month.
Yeah.
But again, it's a physical manifestation of our own doubts about ourselves.
So using the example of me saying, oh gosh, what if we put our videos out there and nobody likes us?
Yeah.
Then what that does is I have to go, wait a minute, where inside of me am I wrestling with people not liking me?
Exactly.
And what does that mean? And how do I resolve that?
Well, again, it's just one of those things where it's a poked, and you're like, okay, I sense it, and I need to figure out what's really going on here. In that situation, you almost have to say, for us, I think why I started and why we started is we both believe all movement happens at the micro level, not on the macro level. So if we just helped one person That's really
it ripples.
It ripples.
Yeah.
I mean, and actually at a macro level, you actually stop helping people. So like if we got too famous, we would stop being able to relate.
We're not accessible anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our journey is really that. Also, our journey was also, I think we were both using this almost as a jumping board to help our own selves.
Yeah.
Like again, it's not 100% altruistic why we're doing it. We're really doing this because it makes us feel good to help people.
Yes, absolutely.
At the end of the
and
day.
both of us are working on throat chakra stuff. So we're both working on, how to speak truth and how to speak our truth.
Yeah.
And so we're grateful for the platform and for those of you who like what we're doing here. So we know what trolls are. We know they serve a purpose in our lives to push us forward. So how do we go about sort of identifying how to interact or not interact with them, and or also ultimately do some jujitsu on them and flip it around so they're actually serving my purpose?
I mean, I would say do this. It really, you got to almost go back to your own love level and your own confidence with yourself, but use that person to build confidence in yourself. Because if it's actually affecting you, that means you're not actually at that high of a love level for yourself. Just wait. This random stranger is actually being able to affect me.
Yeah, like how low. That was what I did when I was going through that in my mind, and I was like, wait, I care about people I'll never even meet
ever.
Whether they say something about me.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, how freaking shallow am I in my own stability here? You know what I mean? So I've been working on like in my own meditation, in my own self-care, working on who I am and feeling stronger about who I am.
Well, no, a troll can actually, especially because they're usually very obvious on it, they're pretty amazing where you can immediately throw yourself in a dissociative state of saying, take a deep breath, take one step back and say, oh, that's interesting. And then once you do that, you're pretty much immune.
It's like you've taken the air out of their balloon when you step back like that.
Now, if you want to mess with them, I would say don't mess with them because, again, like they're on their own path. And again, what happened usually with someone like that is they lost their path when they were very young and they're just looking for their own path. And eventually, we hope that they'll figure out their own path. If you want to help them with their own path, I would say only do it if you have a super high love level because usually a troll is a wounded soul looking for
they're wanting to not be so wounded. Their only way of knowing how to interact is to lash out in negative ways.
In control.
And it's this fascinating thing. When I learned how to be a lifeguard when I was in high school, I was a lifeguard, and one of the things they teach you when you're saving a drowning person is, as a lifeguard, you never swim up on a drowning person. Because they are flailing and they are going to grab anything they can get, and then you are all going down.
And you got to save yourself first. Again, if you're really advanced love level, unfortunately, most of us are enablers. So what we'll do is we'll end up engaging the troll and then enabling them to.
That's where I was going to go with it. I was going to suggest make sure and watch our enablers and empaths video on this, because that engaging with trolls at their level, you are actually enabling them.
You're not helping them
to be trolls and to actually be stronger trolls and to trust in their troll-like behavior even more.
Oh my God, we reward bad behavior?
Never do we reward bad behavior.
God, we would never do that.
But if you're wanting to not be an enabler and you're actually wanting to step back and allow somebody to operate on their own soul path, and then how do you interact with trolls? How do we?
I mean, I still love College Humor. Internet troll College Humor is probably the best thing you could ever watch. And you can have this surrealistic moment both for you and for them. Be like, oh, I love you. and you can kind of do it in an ironic way. I'd be like, but also in a real way, because you're like, I love them for who they are, and I hope their path is better. But I mean,
so give them love.
Exactly.
Send them love.
Send them
the love that you have for yourself. You realize that you have because you recognize it in others, and you send them love.
And again, we can fall back to this as well. No one takes your energy. You give it.
That's true.
No one can ever take your energy. You give it. And once you recognize that lesson, very few people can harm you. Will you always remember that lesson? No, but again, you can usually flip it on as soon as you get good at it. You can flip it on, quickly.
Yeah.
And effectively, And that's, I don't know, that's 90% of just going out there and putting yourself out there.
So what about the jiu-jitsu? How do we flip it so that we can round out, we get stronger because we
learn.
Reframe what they've said, right, internally.
Well, because what happens is we feel their energy flow. Unfortunately, we usually react to it. We react instead of being proactive and also becoming an active participant in it. When someone's gonna like push you or usually those words is you just let the energy flow through you, I think, and you become stronger even just by being aware of it and letting the energy flow through you. And again, it really depends on your love level. If your love level's not high, then again, just don't engage. But I would say at least play with it and try to let it flow through you.
You know, we didn't do this one in our love level series, but it's a really nice compliment to it because it's true. And it's part of, you know, using me as an example, the reason that I even crossed my mind that, oh gosh, if we put ourselves out there and people might be negative or critical of us, the reason that even came to me is because my own love levels were low.
It had nothing to do with that.
And it still doesn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it almost never, ever has anything to do with them. It always has something to do with you.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Again, that's why blessed are the trolls.
Blessed are the trolls.
So again,
because they're a way for us to look in a mirror and see where our love levels are, to see how I feel and think about myself, to see how I'm managing my energy.
Well, they usually do it in a pretty straightforward manner, so it's actually much easier to play with it and become stronger for it than I would say like a complex relationship. I mean, because sometimes people are very deceptive and manipulative. That's a harder relationship to deal with than a troll is. I mean, I would say almost any relationship is much harder to deal with a troll. It's just, unfortunately, the term has become so prevalent in our society.
Yeah.
And also people really don't know how to engage with it. Oh my gosh, it's super easy to engage with a troll.
Yeah.
Either don't or, again,
send them love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, just don't play their game.
Well, I think it's really interesting that you're saying that the trolls are actually, and this is a good point, the trolls are actually a more direct path to identifying shit I'm dealing with.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Because a lot of times people that I'm close with are more on that enabling side, and they're, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to, say this to her, say that to her. And they might not be quite so forward or in your face.
Well, and unfortunately, a lot of our friends, I love all my friends, but yeah, they sometimes they just enable us, and they're walking on eggshells, and I'm walking on eggshells, and oh no, everything needs to be perfect. And you know what? We all have a growth path. Like, I mean, I'm going to be perfect once I turn into a dolphin next Thursday, but until then, I am not perfect, and I liked growing. I like growing from experiences, and negative experiences are sometimes better learning tools than most positive lessons.
Yeah, well, and that goes back to our one where we talked about the sailors learn how to sail on the rough seas.
Totally.
And not safe seas. So the trolls really are these kind of markers of, hey, look inside and see why you're having such a strong reaction to this random human saying nasty things.
Well, and we haven't even really got on like the 5D level. They're really just manifestations of our own.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that in 3D, 5D video.
Almost, yeah, they're manifestations of like, oh, I need to learn this lesson. Thank you for the lesson.
Literally, which is again, blessed are the trolls. Thank you, everybody. So we hope you've enjoyed what you've heard today. We hope you're enjoying our series. Please make sure and like us in the button below, and then subscribe and share. And please give us comments on this one if you've had any troll experiences that have pushed you to wake up and recognize some things in yourself that you need to work on. And visit us at spiritualfluffers.love.
Thank you.
See you next time.